Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be doing a review on a filter system from a company called Kase. This system was sent to me by them because they wanted to see what I thought. I've done a lot of reviews on other filter systems from different manufacturers such as Wine Country, Format, Nissi, and yeah, I wanted to see what the Kase filters were all about because they look pretty awesome. So we're going to be reviewing these, we're going to be testing these, we're going to be taking a few test shots here in Leeds. It's extremely windy. The camera that we're going to be using is the Canon 5DSR, so I've got lots of resolution, and I'm going to be using one of my favorite lenses, the Canon 24mm tilt shift. So yeah, let's take a few pictures and see what this filter system is all about. So let's quickly talk about the Kase filter system, how it works, and discuss some of the usability factors, because when it comes to usability, this is without a doubt the best filter system that I have ever used. It is incredible. There are two ways that you could attach your filters to your lens. First one is my favorite, and it's just this little adapter ring over here. This is basically your filter holder. The whole system is this. You simply attach this onto your lens, and then your filters just attached magnetically. It's literally that easy, and I love how incredible, how easy, how straightforward this filter system is. And you can stack filters as well, because the front section of this polarizing filter is also magnetized, so you can put a 10-stop ND filter on top of this. So most people, in my experience, they tend to use a polarizing filter and a 10-stop, so polarizer and an ND filter. That's basically all you need. That is amazing. Like, I love that. And because the polarizer isn't attached with the screw, you can just rotate it to how you like, and it works perfectly. I love that. The second way that you can attach filters onto your lens is with this adapter ring over here. So this adapter ring allows you to attach the full magnetic holder from Kase, and this is the full holder. This is it. This is the whole thing. Like, it's still tiny. I mean, obviously not as tiny as that little ring, but this is remarkable. Just attaches on. You can attach the polarizing filter, so the same polarizing filter, into the center over here, and in order to rotate it, you just use the gears over here, so you can choose where the effect is applied most. And this holder system is predominantly for, in my opinion, soft graduated ND filters or hard graduated ND filters, because you can move this up and down, and you can rotate it as well. Because you can rotate it and move it up and down, it's great for the graduated ND filter. So if you want just the sky to have the exposure balance a little bit better with the rest of the scene, you can just rotate this around and then just move this up and down depending on where you want the effect to hit most. You can also attach another filter on top of that. So you've got a 10-stop filter on top of the graduated filter on top of the polarizing filter. But I think that personally, I wouldn't use that many filters. I mean, the image is probably going to start degrading at that level. I tend to use either one or two filters at the most. But that's basically it. That's the whole holder system. You've got two ways that you can use the Kase magnetic system. The first one is just amazing, especially if you only want to use a full ND and a polarizing filter. And the second system, obviously, if you want to use soft graduated filters, then that's going to be really handy as well. I mean, from a usability standpoint, this is incredible. This is the best that I've ever used, and I'm honestly blown away by the design of this filter system. What we're going to do now is we're going to hop on to Lightroom. We're going to have a look at some of the images, because as good as the usability is for this filter system, I think for many people, for many photographers, the results are crucial. Colors, sharpness, these are the two things that a lot of photographers tend to look for. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing a little bit of pixel peeping, looking at the colors before and after, and then also we're going to be taking some controlled shots and looking at the results side by side with and without the filters, to see how these impact image quality. So here we have the images opened up in Lightroom, and for this first comparison, we've got the control image on the left over here, and this was shot without any filters. Image on the right was shot with just one filter, the polarizing filter, and you can see the polarizing effect on the building over here. and you'll see how the reflections and the glare has been taken out, bringing out the color for the building. So this isn't a shift in color. This is because the reflections and the glare has been taken out, and you can see the color more effectively in the building. So it kind of makes it, it kind of increases the saturation a little bit. However, if you look at the sky, the thing to note is that the color in the sky looks virtually identical to the control image. And that's key because it's not contributing or shifting the colors dramatically. The blue tones remain blue, the green tones remain green as well, which is important. So we're not seeing a magenta shift, we're not seeing like a green shift or a warm shift. We're just seeing the colors come through more effectively because of the glare being reduced, but we're not seeing any major shifts. And this is pretty impressive stuff from Kase. I'm so impressed with how well this polarizing filter works. It's incredibly sharp because I don't see any difference in performance in the brickwork over here, and also there's virtually no color shift whatsoever. Obviously you are going to lose a little bit of the exposure, so instead of shooting at 100th of a second, I'm shooting at 1/50th of a second. But other than that, I'm so impressed with the performance from the Kase polarizing filter. The second image on the right was shot with the polarizing filter and the 10 stop, so exposure was 20 seconds, so you can see movement in the sky or movement in the clouds, and you can see the movement in the water as well. And there is a slight shift in color, like it's just a tiny bit warmer, and you know, it might not be very apparent if you just glance at it, but if you pay attention to the blue tones over here, you could see how the blue is just a little bit warmer, and the green tones over here are just a little bit warmer as well. However, the green tones have remained relatively intact, and this is because there isn't any purple shift, any magenta shift that's discernible. There's no discernible magenta shift in the image, which is more important. Having a slight warmer tone or a colder tone, that's manageable. But if you have a magenta shift, what tends to happen is the green tones start looking a little bit gray, and that can be really difficult to manage, especially because a lot of people tend to use these filters for landscape architecture where a lot of green tones are going to be, and the green tones are important. And what's really impressive is how small of an impact that is on the green tones because there isn't a magenta shift. So I'm really impressed with that. In terms of sharpness, I mean, I can't see any difference between the two. Like, there's virtually no difference whatsoever. I'm so impressed with these filters from Kase so far. So performance wise, yeah, these are really holding up. These are some of the best filters I've used in a very long time. Moving on to the next batch of images, these were shot in a controlled environment with lighting on a tripod of a color checker digital SG, so we can look at the colors and we can also look at the sharpness. The image on the left, this is the control image. The lens that we used was the 135mm Zeiss Apo. This is one of the sharpest lenses that you can use, so we're really pushing the filter performances to their respective extremes. There aren't many wide-angle lenses or any wide-angle lenses that are going to perform on the level of the Zeiss 135. But if you are going to shoot with incredibly sharp lenses, then this is probably going to show you exactly how well these filters can perform at the at their peaks. So zooming in 1:1, the polarizing filter on the right over here has virtually no impact on image quality. It's amazing how little this affects the image quality. And what's mind-boggling to me is the fact that the Zeiss 135 is such a sharp lens that even if you put some extreme high-end UV filter in front of it, that will degrade image quality. However, this polarizer is making zero difference. Image quality is virtually identical. So this might be the sharpest, most high resolution polarizing filter that I've ever used, and I'm really impressed with its performance. For the second image, we've got the 10 stop filter on the right over here, control image on the left. And in terms of colors, there was a slight shift. So based on the color checker and the color patches, I managed to work out that the shift on the temperature is about 200 Kelvin. So this is 200 Kelvin warmer. However, on the tint, there was a 1 point difference, which is practically negligible. So in terms of color shift, yes, there is a slight shift in the warm temperature, in the warm tones or the temperature, and that is apparent in real world scenarios as well. But in terms of actual numbers, it's about 200 Kelvin. So if you just cool down the image by about 200 Kelvin, it will practically fix any potential issues you might see. But that is such a minute difference, and I'm really impressed with that. Zooming in 1:1, there's a slight difference in performance, so you can see how the 10-stop filter does impact image quality slightly, but not by a significant amount, not by any amount that's worth discussing. And as you noticed, in real world conditions, there was virtually no difference. It's just when you're shooting in a controlled environment and you're shooting with extremely high-end lenses, then you are going to notice some difference in performance, but it's pretty negligible. For this third comparison, we've got the 6-stop filter on the right, and I've removed any corrections for the color so you can see how much of an impact the 6-stop filter has on the colors. And it's probably quite apparent even from this distance. If you look at the wood on the background, you'll see that there's a definite magenta shift. In terms of points, it's about a 10-point shift on the tint based on the color checker. So it's definitely a significant magenta cast over the images, and that's going to potentially affect the green tones. And you could probably see over here, so if you look at the green tones over here, you'll notice how it's definitely impacting the green tones. And I mean, just look at the yellow tones as well. It's shifted that yellowish tone into a more orange tone, so that might be a problem. So you can see, if you go back and forth over here, you can see how the green tones are definitely being affected. Also, in terms of sharpness, it's the softest as well. There's a big difference in performance. This is the softest filter that I've used ever. So I don't know what happened. I tried this test quite a lot, and in every single shot, the 6-stop filter just performed pretty poorly. And you know, it's soft or softer in comparison to the 10-stop and the polarizing filter, and it also has a significant shift in the magenta tones. Finally, we have the 10-stop filter with the polarizing filter, and if we zoom in 1:1, there's a slight difference in performance, but it's actually pretty incredible. This is I'm so impressed with this. So with two filters in front of the Zeiss 135, and the difference in sharpness and image quality is negligible. Like, just look at how little of an impact it has on the sharpness. And this is both filters in front of the Zeiss 135. And it's performing so well. Bearing in mind, the 6-stop by itself was ridiculously soft. This is two filters together, and it's performing incredible. Colors wise, once again, the shift in colors was practically the same. It was a 1-point change on the tint and about 200-point change on the temperature. So I'm finding that the polarizer has very little to no effect on the image quality, like literally no impact on image quality or colors, and the 10-stop filter has a minor impact on colors and sharpness, but it's so small that it's basically not even worth talking about. The 6-stop filter is, however, the worst performing filter in this series or this set so far. So there you have it. That's how the Kase Wolverine magnetic filter system performs, and this is probably the best filter system on the market. I mean, I've used filters from so many different manufacturers, and the Kase filter system outperforms them by a significant degree. It's definitely the best filter system that I've ever used, and I wasn't expecting it to be this good. I honestly wasn't. I thought that the magnetic system was a bit of a gimmick until I used it, and I thought, wait a minute, this is incredible. The usability factors alone put the Kase filter system way ahead of the competition. And then in terms of image quality, the 10-stop, the soft graduated ND filter, and the polarizing filter, they are fantastic, and there's virtually no impact to image quality. Like, the difference on the 10-stop is negligible. Yes, the 6-stop is terrible. Don't use the 6-stop filter. It's the worst filter I've used so far in terms of performance. Like, massive magenta cast, really soft image quality. So the 6-stop, you can ignore the 6-stop filter. It's not that great. Move over to the 10-stop filter. The 10-stop filter is fantastic. The polarizing filter is amazing. Yeah, this filter system, if you can ignore the 6-stop filter, if you don't need the 6-stop filter, then yeah, this is probably the best filter system on the market, definitely the best system that I've ever used. I mean, going back to the usability factors, this filter system, what I love about it is that you can just build up the filter holder with all the filters that you need, put it in your bag, and then when you're there, when you're ready to mount the camera on your tripod and start taking pictures, you can just attach it onto the filter ring. So simple, so easy, saves so much time. It's literally like attaching a lens cap onto your lens. It's that simple. I don't need to screw anything on. I mean, obviously you got to screw on the adapter ring, but then after that, it's just so simple, so straightforward. I love this filter system. Best filter system I've used so far. Highly recommend it. Avoid the 6-stop. Other than that, amazing. But yeah, just want to say thank you so much for watching my video. If you like this video, hit the like button, please subscribe, share this video, and I hope to see you all in the next one. Thank you.